Have you ever considered starting your own project in Neurotech? Why is launching a personal project crucial for those aiming to break into this innovative field? How can creating something unique help you stand out and also pave the way for entrepreneurial success? Join us on Neurocareer's Doing the Impossible, where we dive deep with Dr. Ildar Rakhmatulin, a trailblazer who transformed his passion for brain-computer interfaces into this thriving startup, Pi-EEG. In this episode, we'll explore the power of personal projects, from idea to enterprise, navigating neurotech trends and career advancement tips. Dr. Ildar Rakhmatulin will also share valuable tips on developing neurotech products and how his own course can equip you with the skills needed to excel in your career. Welcome, Ildar. It's a great pleasure to have you on our podcast. Can you briefly introduce yourself and let our listeners know where you are joining us, from what part of the world? You've been on our podcast before, but for those who haven't listened to that podcast, that would be a great reminder. Thank you.
Yeah, hello, and thank you so much for your introduction. Yeah, let me just only speak a few words about me. Generally, I'm hardware, machine learning researcher. Currently, yes, I'm working in academia, but generally I spend the most parts of my life in industry, and just only for the last few years, I'm come back to academia. I'm working here, and yes, parallelly, I am also have my startup, Pi-EEG, that's moving forward with me already a few years.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
If just only quite shortly.
Thank you, Ildar. Where are you joining us from? From what part of the world?
Well, I was born in Russia many years ago, in the east parts of Russia, let's say. After that, where with my parents moved to the central part of Russia, where I grew up, and I have finished my university and received first my education, let's say, in electrical fields. After that, I have defended my PhD already in electronics, and soon after that, about already 7 years ago, probably, I moved to Japan. And about 5 years, I lived in Tokyo. It's an amazing place for living and for working. And exactly, it's in Tokyo already was born my idea about Pi-EEG, about my vision, in which direction I would like to move, what I would like to do. So, and just only about 3 years ago, I moved to the UK, and currently I live in Edinburgh.
Thank you so much for this introduction. And what is Pi-EEG? Can you tell us?
Yeah, let me start about probably how was born this idea. In Japan already, when I moved to Japan from Russia, it's Tokyo, it's very international, very modern city. I had meeting with very amazing guys, and generally everyone has some amazing ideas about what everyone like to do. And I remember just during one conference, it was in Rakuten company, I met with one of my friends. It was probably already 7 or 8, many years ago, let's say. And we just had general conversation about what we would like to do, because in this moment I already received a huge experience in hardware. I started working with machine learning, and I just only wanted to find some good application when I can use my knowledge, something inspiring, more than just only some project, something that's really I would like to do. And we're thinking about, and in one moment we, with my friends, decided, what about if we will control robotic arms by mind? It's generally, if you ask everyone about what is it neuroscience, I believe that's the main idea, and the first answer, it will be something controlled with your mind. So it's exactly the same happened with me many years ago. And from this moment, I decided with my friends, created this technology, and we started thinking about buy some device. Because in this moment, generally, I already much more busy was with machine learning and signal processing area, let's say, and I didn't want to spend time for developing some hardware. And we started looking for some devices. And I was really very surprised because in general, in the current moment already, it's not so big problem. Find some equipment in the market, especially hardware price fall down. But I was very surprised because price for any brain computer interfaces, neurotechnology system was very high. It was not enough open. It was not so easy to use, let's say. So, and I decided, okay, probably in this case, I develop my device. I expected that it will take just only a short time because, how I said, that I had already huge experience in hardware. But I was wrong, actually, and it takes about probably 1 year. But for first, my prototype, probably, yes, I spent about 1 year. And generally, yeah, it was created my first device. But first device, it was not Pi-EEG, it was RMBCI device. I made it in an open source format. It was a wearable device. But during COVID time, how you know, it's happened a chip shortage and some problem happened, of course, with my device, but because cost for the components significantly increased. And I decided, no, probably it's already not good way, move with RMBCI, wearable device. And I decided probably it will be a great idea, just only take analog parts from my device and connect to the Raspberry Pi as head or shield. So, and PiEG was born like that, just only, in the first step, it was just only open source device. I provided this device for everyone. And I thought that's the story about hardware already will be finished in this moment.
Yes, and Ildar, do you remember if you already were planning its commercialization from that point or it happened later? So at what point you decided that, yeah, I want to make this device commercially available?
Yeah, it's initially I just only wanted to make open source device because how I said that I wanted to move just only with machine learning area. I made it in open source format, and surprisingly for me, it's become quite popular for many users, and many different types of persons sent me messages that we would like to buy it. I said that's okay, guys, no worries. It's not necessarily buy it because it's open source. You can do it yourself. They said that no, sorry, I don't know how to do it. I said, no problem. I will create a video with full explanation how you can make order in the factory. And it's in this moment, I believe that it will be more than enough. But I was surprised because I still continue receiving messages that we just only would like buy. We don't want to spend time to make order in the factory. We know that you provided instruction how to do that. So, and during probably for a long time, probably for 1 year, when I received some messages about a PiEG device, I decided, okay, probably it will be a good idea just only launch it in crowdfunding platform and see how it will be popular.
Thank you, Ildar. And my question is just a little bit more details. You created this open source device. Where was it available? Where was this open source where people were able to contribute to it? What language did you use for your initial product?
Yeah, originally when I created my first device, I used microcontrollers that transfer data via a radio. And I used, of course, C because it's one of the most popular. And generally, it's quite friendly for microcontrollers. That's how we work with high speed. But when I switched already my attention for Raspberry Pi and PiEG, I already started to use the Python language. And generally, because it's much more better when you work with single board computer. If you operate with Python, it's almost in real time. You just only use one script. You can change some settings and launch this script. I also initially created a C library in PiEG device, but it was problematic with compatibility because every time when you change some parts of the script, you need to create again all files, so it takes so much time. I also made it open source format C library, but I received so many questions about how to use it. So, and finally I closed it and say that's now just only Python. And for this time, of course, when I started, we had just only Raspberry Pi 3. Now it's already was launched 4 and 5. 5, it's absolutely amazing already. It's so powerful that it's not necessarily use a C language because it's operate in real time without any problem with Python.
Where all this information was available?
Yeah, generally I upload it in GitHub. But it's of course it's GitHub. It's not something popular for everyone, just for guys who has some experience with programming. For me, of course, it's a website that I'm visiting every day, but not for all of us. And probably it's one of the problem why people didn't have experience in programming. I didn't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm. And how did people react to what you created? Or how they were collaborating with you? What were the main questions they were asking? What were the contributions that they were making? Because as I understand, it's a very collaborative process when you have an open source program.
Yes, yeah. And I believe that's not just only because open source. I would like to say that's some specific area as neuroscience.
Mm-hmm.
In many different types of researchers would like use this knowledge for some applied task. And Pi-EEG originally was created not for applied task. I created it for learn neuroscience. It was the main idea because it's you operated in Raspberry, so you can change some register, you can make easy implement in real time any signal processing. But very often I have received messages we would like to use this device for applied task, for as wearable technology. And usually I explain it, oh, sorry guys, it's not something that was created for applied as wearable. It's generally for studying neuroscience. And actually, for this reason now, very soon I will launch already one wearable device, especially for these types of researchers. And especially, yes, it was popular among around academic area. So it's a PhD student researchers who would like just only receive it not so expensive equipment, and the most important is that's with software, that's totally in open source format. That's all of you receive raw data and adjust script how you would like without any problem for different types of task.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. And what do you think was the benefit of creating this open source, even when you were not planning on commercialization yet? Because as I understand, it came later. And so, how do you see it benefited you or product development?
Generally, it's different types of benefits. It's not necessarily worry so much in the topic of at least of software that somebody steal your ideas, steal your algorithms. If everyone who would like to steal it or use it for some another project, they can create it because anyway, it's necessary to have some experience to adjust these types of script. In my point of view, it was great. How you say that's the opportunity for collaboration. It's also opportunity to receive some very useful comments and some contribution because it's in open source if everyone to use it and he can without any problem find some bugs, some opportunity to improve it, and he can contact you and explain here you was wrong, here it can be done better. So from this point of view, I just only see benefits for all of us.
Yes, I'm very glad that you are mentioning it. First of all, to dispel that myth that people will steal what you've created. And like you said, for this, they already need to have certain knowledge because they will need to modify that and so on and so forth. And you've done great, and nobody really did anything malicious to your product. Second of all, it's an opportunity to learn from people. A third, to improve what you have. And I see at least one more benefit. It's creating connections with people in the field. So I suppose that you met so many great people and created so many connections, which people are often lacking. They're saying, oh, I don't have really a network of people. I don't have many people in the field. So what can you say from that perspective? What benefits did you see?
Yes, it's absolutely true. Because generally, when I just only started, created it, I had experience, of course, in hardware, but I have many issues, especially in signal processing area and feature extraction, and many some specific questions about implementation of brain interface in real life. And of course, I received many messages about collaboration, but the most important was for me that I had opportunity contact for some of very famous really researchers in neuroscience area. And usually in my introduction, it was information that I have working for open source device and I have some issues. Probably it will be great if you can share your ideas about prospect, and it allowed me really established a good connection with very nice and very famous, and not for me it's not of course important famous, but very good specialists in the neuroscience area. who really very helped me. It's not just only in the context of Pi-EEG, but also about my future in neuroscience, because how you know in the current moment already it was hobby initially, but now I am already working in neuroscience area in university, in academia, because this connection very helped me.
Thank you so much for mentioning that. And also, you mentioned that you thought that the initial device that you will create will take just short period of time, that you will be able to do it fairly quick. But then you understood that things were not happening as fast as you wished to. So what were the main challenges that prevented from making things as quick as you initially planned?
EEG signals is quite sensitive signal, so it's not something that you would like to measure some from environment like temperature. It's many limitation factors. And my device, it's also should be very comfortable. I spent a lot of time to find, let's say, probably optimal components for these types of device. Because originally when we measure EEG, we started from analog digital converter or from active electrodes. I spent a lot of time to create active electrodes with just only amplifiers for one few channels. After that, I come to analog digital converters. I also tried to use different types of analog digital converters, voltage regulators, because it should be very stable voltage and very good schematic implementation between ground, analog, digital isolation. So let's say, so for this reason, of course, it's take more time than I expected, just because I worked in Japan as an electronic engineer and I didn't have any problems. For example, just only create some devices, just measure. It's much more easy, something like, for example, sugar in liquid or something like that, where you can much more clearly indicate it. But when you measure EEG, it's in the first time when I connected my devices, I didn't know it's EEG or not EEG. It's noisy, it's not noisy. It's enough impedance, not enough. So it's many theoretical parts that I didn't understand yet. So generally, I created hardware. I learned about EEG, what is it, and about how to much more clear make signal processing to understand it.
Yeah, so it was a long process, many challenges that you were overcoming. You were still working full time. Like you said, you were in Japan at that time. What motivated you to come home, tired already after work? Yes. And still go and work on your, at that time, pet project, because it wasn't a commercial project. Yes, you were just doing it because you were enjoying. So, what was the motivation to continue going and persevering?
Yeah, probably I was happy because how I said that in Japan it's an amazing place and I really liked my job and I can say that I tired after my job because it was happy. It was amazing company, amazing my partners. It was pleasure for me visiting my work and every day I learned something new. And exactly the same situation. The most important, how I mentioned, I chose it many years ago, some areas that inspired me. So I never recognized it.
Mhm.
That's neuroscience for me and something like job. It was always for me as hobby. So for this reason, of course, when I returned from my main job, I was very happy start exactly what I would like to do. I never recognized it as something like, oh, I tired, I don't want it. No, it was exactly what I waited all day. So for this reason, I never had a problem. So
That's very motivational. When you are doing things you really enjoy, it doesn't feel like a work. Yes, like work.
yeah, absolutely. It's the best.
Yes, very good. So now we ended with you on that first prototype that you created, that you were thinking that it will take shorter time, it took longer time, but finally you created. So what happened next after that?
It's again take a long time. From the moment when I decided launched in crowd supply platform, situation with a chip shortage become much more worse. And anyway, some main components that were implemented in my board already were not available on the market. So for this reason, I already pre-launched, let's say, in crowd supply platform. And from this moment, I take pause, probably just only for one or more. I don't remember exactly, probably 1.5 years. I just only awaited moment when all components will be available in the market. And when it's happened, yes, I launched it, raised some money, and now I'm still going on.
What is the latest product? Can you describe it? What it is?
Yes, it's idea about our latest project generally was born already also many years ago, probably exactly in the same moment when I have created Pi-EEG device, because it's Pi-EEG just only had that's necessary connect to Raspberry Pi, but of course it should be also connected to screen, keyboard, mouse, and generally and power bank, battery, let's say, and anyway, from this moment, it's necessary connect to GitHub, upload an SDK or software. So it's not so comfortable, especially for a person who didn't work with Raspberry Pi, because also it's necessary make step for install operation systems. And already from this moment, I understood that it will be a great idea if I have everything what I just only counted, just only one small box. So it's just don't spend any time to install libraries, to install software, to establish communication, to transfer data, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, never mind. Just only open everything inside, and from this moment already you can measure signal or learn neuroscience. This idea was a long time in my head, but about 1.5 years ago, I found a very similar project from one company in China that's created a device to learn electronics, let's say, some like Arduino, some general electronics project, measure temperature. And I understood that it's great basic, let's say, for me to move forward. And I contacted this company with my idea and asked it. I have everything from my side to implement my idea, but I just only need factory that support me, not from the money point of view, but generally to assemble it. And they said that yes, it's a good idea. They will be ready.
Yes, thank you. What were the biggest challenges? Even finding that company, or this happened just very naturally and you just went with the flow? Yes, here are the people, I will contact them, or the process was more complex. You were searching and finding and not finding. So, yeah, how did it work for you?
Generally, yeah, company it's not the main parts of this project because these kits contain not just only box and Raspberry Pi. It was necessary find and had companies that produce head with low cost. It was necessary find another companies that produce cables, electrodes, sensors, pins. It's many different ways. So and generally, I spent a lot of time to establish communication between factories. That's with good reputation, let's say, that's allowed me already really be sure that all components that I have will be delivered in time. And generally, yeah, probably it's the main challenges. And of course, I can say that it was generally, of course, it was necessary to create already software for all these devices and create some design. Probably for me, because I'm much more engineer. I don't know, probably you have seen my post on LinkedIn. It's my first idea. I created it just only in Paint, but after that, already step by step, I also created some design, how it will look. So it's also take a lot of time from my side.
Yes. And that is so interesting how things are being created. Yes, something starts just with your idea, then you put it on a paper, and then little piece by piece, but you are creating the device that before that only existed in your imagination. Yes,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful process in the
Just only approximately, of course, I knew, but not exactly.
yeah.
Because, it's my first design. I wanted to implement inside robotic arm,
Hmm.
but it was not enough places here. So generally, originally was my idea that you open case inside the robotic arm, and but not so easy find so small robotic arms that will be put it inside the box. And for this reason, I decided just only make external connector that's allowed you establish communication between robotic arms that's
Hmm.
bought from separate suppliers.
Yes. And you shared with me some pictures of the device. So, as I understand, this is the most current version of it. Yes, that is currently available.
Yep.
And maybe I can share a screen And you can comment on those pictures and explain our listeners what is what so that they would have a better understanding of it. Is it okay if I do that? Okay.
Oh, of course, with pleasure.
Yes, so that's the first one. And yep, you can just go ahead and let us know what it is.
Yep, it is 8 channels head, generally, especially for using this Pi-EEG device. And exactly, yes, the same head included in Pi-EEG kit. So it's already inside the box. Electrodes, head, and cables. Yeah.
How many electrodes does it have?
Currently, just only 8, but because it's, how I said, a PiEEG kit is also for learning neuroscience. But of course, because it's big, so I think that in this case already nobody will ask me about created some variable from PiEEG kit.
So, and it looks like that you are measuring not only EEG, but measuring other biological signals.
Yes, it's not only EEG, yeah. Generally, in the kit included these types of cables, and these cables can be used as for measurement EEG, and also here can be connected electrodes for measure EMG, also signals from heart, from eyes. So it's exactly the same types of connectors.
Here I see already dry electrodes, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dry electrodes, yeah, silver chloride. No, of course, it's dry electrodes, but generally, anyway, researchers use with gel and dry electrodes as well.
Yes, that's true. Okay.
In the PiEEG kit, these types of electrodes using for connection to signals from heart, from muscles, from eyes.
These are electrodes connected to probably these are for EKG, yes? Yeah, it is very important because people are choosing to combine signals from different modalities in the same study. And of course, for education purposes, it's also important to record different type of physiological activity. So here it is. I think that's the latest version of it, as I understand.
It's quite comfortable because already installed everything what you need as software SDK, especially you can launch it very easy, start measure signals. It's quite important because, it's not necessarily transfer data via some wireless technology, everything's so inside.
You mentioned that it can be used for educational purposes. So what can be done for educational purposes? How people can use it for education?
I included a course to learning neuroscience, signal processing, and implementation. And I will still working to provide some applied implementation, probably for not researchers, as I already have done how connect signals from brain to ChatGPT, and probably currently we are working about how implement P300 method for gaming. So it will allow, I believe, in the future also play game via mind signals, and especially for learning. Again, it's quite comfortable because you don't need to spend time to install software, fighting with compatibility around libraries. You just only open and everything already is ready to measure signals from one side, and from another side, it's very easy create your scenario. Especially because in this case, I use ADC1299, an digital converter from Texas Instrument, and quite powerful, generally integrated circuit, because it exists many opportunity to change your scenario. You can increase sample per second, you can increase internal gain for amplifiers, and many other options. So from this type, so it's very easy to do that.
Very nice. And here we can see the details.
Yes, and specific, I would like to say, yes, it's also available all protocols like serial protocols for robot control, also GPU outputs for some custom project, something if you would like switch light as example in your home via blinking, but it's for custom project. It's not implemented in the current moment as parts of software, but it's possible to do. And also E2C protocols, and especially in the left side, in the bottom, you can see it's additional parts of sensors. So especially for researchers, because you can not just only collect EEG data, but also collect PPG data from PPG sensors, environment sensors as well. So in the topic of machine learning, these types of information can help make much more clear future extraction.
Very nice. And actually, it's pretty small, only 10 inches. Oh, that's a beautiful length.
Yeah, it's quite comfortable, yes. You just only can take it. If you would like move for a weekend, you can take it and work it in the train or during waiting some moment. So it's a very comfortable format, just only put inside your backpack. It's not so heavy.
Yeah, it looks very portable, very nice. Amazing. I love it. Now, people who are trying to get into neurotech and they don't have previous experience working with EEG, how can they benefit from what you have created? Maybe you can just walk us through just the simple way to start using your product for learning about EEG and signal processing, what they should do. Yeah, so they got your device, and what is the next step?
Yeah, it's exactly for that. I included my adapted version of this course inside the box. In this case, it's quite comfortable because this course was created exactly for a data set that was collected from Pi-EEG device. So it's exactly the same format. And especially it's big difference, I believe, that's when you're learning something in the course, you use some data set from outside data set. But in this case, you can collect literally your data sets, make some artifacts, or just only collect and already work with your data. So you make signal processing exactly from signals from your brain. I believe that's much more interesting. And especially in my course, it was created for Python language and implemented the most popular scenario, not in the topic of signal processing, but finally also provided a scenario how implemented for real life as a stress control or meditation control as well. So for this reason, already users can find something that they would like to do, and they have already step-by-step instructions and video implementation how to do that inside the box. Yeah, they can do it.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. So, what would you say people who go through the course that is available in the box and who work with your device, what knowledge, what skills they would have at the end of this process?
Yeah, generally, it depends about what skills they had before to come here. Because, of course, it's in my imagination understanding about what is it neuroscience. Because generally, it's a big gap in understanding between person who work in neuroscience and who just only would like to come. I had many meetings with some guys, let's say, with ideas who would like to come to neuroscience, and they have generally too much, let's say, fantastic idea about opportunity of EEG. For this reason, I would like to say that after this course, you will have a real imagination what is it EEG and how it can be applied for real life. So unfortunately, it's not something like fantastic. We are very limited in this area, but we have a huge prospect from another side, especially for AI.
So, people who will finish this course together with working with your hardware, they will have a real understanding of what EEG is.
And how to use it for some applied task in real life, not just only what is it, but how to use it. I believe that's the most important.
I think that's so important that not only they can analyze the data, but they can record the data and they know how to record. They get experience with that, which is an important part when applying for jobs. Because even if you are applying for a job of data processing, your potential employer wants you to know how the data was acquired. Because if you really don't understand how it was acquired, you will not be able to fully comprehend how to analyze it because you will not know what are those artifacts, how it is done, what can be the different mistakes and flaws during the recording so that you can remediate it, yes, or address somehow.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Absolutely agree in this case.
Yes.
Collected data set, it's also science, especially labeling process in EEG, if we're talking about machine learning here.
Yes. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the importance of labeling of EEG data for machine learning and how they can learn to do it with your device, for example?
Especially in the current moment, I can say that I provide some specific tools that can help you, but we are working in this direction, of course. Yeah, but generally, I can say that it's problem of PiEEG or not a general problem of all neuroscience. It's labeling. We can't use dataset as something for machine vision, and labeling it's the most challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, if you would like measure stress, for example, stress control, first you should answer for himself. What about your stress level in the current moment to labeling it?
Yes, that is true. So that is one thing that you are providing. Another thing for those who maybe cannot at the current moment to invest in the device and start recording the data, you're providing a Udemy course that helps them to learn at least how to work with the data, how to analyze the data. Can you talk a little bit more about that course and what is available in it for those who want to start at least handling the data?
Of course, I have created this course in my imagination, not for explain what is it neuroscience. My main task was just only to show very quickly with very short scripts in Python how to use this knowledge for custom scenario, let's say. My task was I provide you and explain in very comfortable format algorithms for signal processing, and you just only can copy and implement it already in your research. And finally, this course become quite short, but generally I covered the most important algorithms and also provided how it can be used in real life. So, but no, all were happy with my vision. I received some comments that it's not enough information. We would like to know also about neuroscience. I explained it, but no, this course not about that. It's a course about how to use it with Python. And also, it was very popular, especially for researchers who used it before MATLAB, because I received many positive comments from MATLAB users that this course was super helpful for me to switch from MATLAB to Python.
Yes, so who should be the main users of this course?
And generally, current course, because I'm also working already for another one. Current course is already for people who has experience with neuroscience. Because the main idea is just only very quickly jump, let's say, from theoretical neuroscience knowledge to applied project. Because you just only see, you understood, and you can copy and implement it. So for this reason, of course, the many users who use these courses, they have direct correlation with neuroscience. Generally, as usually, it's PhD students and postdoctoral researchers, research associates, and also in academic as well.
What is the name of the course so that our people can look it up on Udemy?
Probably it sounds something like signal processing with Python. I believe that if I just only in Google signal processing with Python or demo, probably my course should be in the top. Yeah.
Excellent. Very impressive development from a hobby that you just enjoy doing to a full product. And not only that, a course on Udemy. And as I understand, you have more ideas and you are creating already another course and you already think about further improvements and development of your PiEEG kit. What was the most challenging part of this project for you and how did you solve it?
The main that I always was too much bright side person, and I always expected that I achieve result much more faster than it was finally. And for this reason, of course, it's necessary be patient and necessary be happy anyway. But from another side, how I said before, for me it's hobby, and I can imagine some reasons that stopped me because it doesn't matter for me. For example, it will be successful in the current moment in the market or not. Anyway, I will continue to contribute in this area because for me it's not only money, work. It's generally it's some parts of my life because I feel that it's correct way for me because I feel myself much more happy when I'm doing that, when I contribute in this area. So, and about challenging, I can't say something specific, but I have too much project. I have covered today just only part of them. And challenge is just I don't have enough time for all of my activity because also, it's I have family, kids. I just only have evening every day to contribute for all of them. And it's the main problem, time, probably in this case.
Yes, it is a problem. And I just thought about Hermione Granger from Harry Potter. She got this clock and she was able to do double things at the same time.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. It's my dream. Yeah.
Yes, very good. So now I would like to talk a little bit about how your approach might benefit people who are seeking careers in neurotechnologies. First of all, your determination to create your own project. So actually, I recommend this to all people who are trying to find their job somewhere in the neurotech. I'm asking, do you have your own project? Because I think that this shows the potential employers that you are a very self-motivated person, that you don't need somebody to give you a job. You are finding a job.
Yeah, I agree.
What would be your advice for those who are seeking to get involved in other projects or to find their place in industry from the perspective of creating something on their own?
Yeah, in this case, I absolutely agree with you because from my point of view, of course, it's very important. If somebody also sent me messages, it's about, can you recommend me my first imagination about what about your project where you contributed? Because very often some person can say that I worked in this one company, I created something like that. Probably it sounds crucial, but for me it sounds not so cool and something like not like big because every one of us worked in the company and every one of us made some achievement in the company. It's our life. For this reason, of course, demonstrate that you can create something yourself that can establish communication, collaboration with another researchers to achieve some result. It's the most benefits. It's really indicator, let's say, of the person. Yeah, but about advice from another side, I also, it's quite often received some messages what you can recommend to me. I'm a PhD student, soon I finish it or defended my PhD, where I need to go. It's the same what I said before, but the most important in this case, probably ask yourself, what inspiring to you? The most important is move in this direction because it's not doesn't matter. It's promising area or not promising area because everyone can make mistake. But if you choose way that's inspiring you, and anyway you achieve the best result because you will do this work not just on work time, you will do this work on all your free time, and it will be not work. It will be as hobby that's provide for you pleasure. You will not have some mental problem. Tired and another one, yeah. For this reason, of course, my recommendation, better ask yourself what you would like to do and move in this direction.
Yes, that's a good suggestion. I actually have people who come to me and they ask, we love neuroscience. We would love to work in this area, but my specialization is too narrow. What should I do? Should I still try and find a job in this area, although I even don't see any postings that would welcome this type of employees? Or I should just use my, let's say, computer science skills and go whatever job becomes available. What would be your take on that? I understand that there is no one advice that fits all, but just from your perspective, how do you see that?
Yeah, of course, the most parts of my life I spent, how I mentioned before, in industry. And generally, I can say that I like it, especially in Russia. I worked in many different types of factory during my especially PhD time. So during day, I was as PhD student. During night, I worked in the factory as programming, not researchers, just only as engineer to fix the problems. But I always had patience, especially because, I had work that I would like to say it was not my dream, but I always had parallel with that some my project that I moved forward. This allowed me to receive jobs that I wanted, especially because when I defended my PhD, I received a job in Japan. It was amazing work, but about 5 years I worked during evening to learn neuroscience, improve my skills and machine learning. And after 5 years already, I have more than enough experience in machine learning area. I received a job in here at What University as machine learning researcher. And parallelly, soon I also had position in Imperial College already as brain-computer interface researchers. It was just only as hobby, so I did not have any specific education. But step by step, I moved forward, and finally, I just only achieved what I want. So for this reason, I believe that if you can find some positions that you would like, what we were dreaming, it's not doesn't mean that you need to give up, since you can continue contributing this area in your free time.
I absolutely agree. That's a great advice. And you're a wonderful example of how this can be done. My next question is how to find the project that you can do on your own. We talked that it's good to have, it's important to have something that you're passionate about. How to find something that is relevant, something that you should pursue, something that you should do, how to develop that idea. Maybe you can share your experience, how it was for you. Probably you also had some other ideas, but for some reason you chose one and you went ahead with it.
Yeah, I can say that I can provide some recommendation. In this case, probably I just only can share some my experience.
Yep.
For example, already how I came to PiEG, I explained it, but for example, another one project, it's my headphones to measure fatigue. It's for running for athletes. So when I come to this idea, I really like running. It doesn't matter usually for me, I'm tired or not. When I go to run, after that, I feel myself much more better. But generally, I'm very careful about timing, and I would like every time run faster. And probably in 10% of all my running, I feel myself very terrible after running. So in my imagination, I go to run, come back and continue work because my feeling will be better. But sometimes I comes and I understood that, oh my God, it was overtraining. I ran too fast and too much. But during running process, you didn't feel. I didn't know. I understood it just only when I come to home. So that I'm too tired and I just ready go to sleep. And I'm thinking about what I can to do, how to understand it. I started learning about fatigue, and I was very surprised because I understood that according to scientific papers that I have found, just only via EEG it's possible predict fatigue, not detect us, we can detect via heart rate or some another impulse, but predict. That's allow you that something say you stop, you run too fast. It's possibility for overtraining, please fall down, speed down. So for this reason, yes, it's one of the example how I come to another one of my startups fitting headphones, and that's allow you predict fatigue and avoid any overtraining for athletes.
That is amazing. I'm looking forward to discussing this in our future podcast. This your project.
Yeah, I hope.
That's amazing. So from what you just told us, I see that you are really looking for real world problems. So real problems that you see people are experiencing, something that is missing, like there was a gap in EEG equipment and simple solutions that can help people learn because you experienced it firsthand and you created PiEG and now it is in demand and it can bring lots of value to many people. And the same with running. The initiative came from you and from your own experience. I have this problem. How can it be solved?
Yeah. And finally, it's when I start learning about it, I understood that the problem about fatigue is much more huge than I expected. It's not just only about sport, because the modern problem for workers, it's stress, but fatigue was one of the most main reason for stress, and especially for a critical specialty, for industry, it's a very important indicator, let's say.
Especially during the day, we sit a lot. We force ourselves sometimes to sit, to finish. Sometimes we just need to go outside and walk to really recuperate, refresh, and then get back to what you were doing. And instead of forcing yourself and then getting really tired and with our performance decreasing, it's good to have this information and use it accordingly. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
My next question is, what trends do you see in neurotechnologies right now?
We already see many patents from very big company. So for this reason, it will be more variable. It will be something like, it's, for example, in something like hair trade, it's already something that we have. It's not something specific. So in the near future, I believe that and signals from brain also will be implemented in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And for many different types, of course, in application, especially for gaming industry, virtual reality, for sports, as mentioned before, and for general life. Anyway, it's brain is probably better than me. It's so powerful indicator. We can find thousand publications probably, and you can find just only correlation between coffee, how much coffee you drank, and signals from brain. So it can be used not just only what I mentioned before. It can be used for so different types of indicators, disease, and just only for healthcare. So, and I believe that we are moving already in this direction.
Yes, that's very good. And in terms of that, what do you think it means for careers in neuroscience and neurotechnologies? With this type of neurotechnologies being developed, how does it affect the availability and possibilities for the careers in neurotech?
In my point of view, I believe that in our days, we need already be much more flexible. So if you work in some area, it not doesn't mean that you should work all your time just only in this area and carry about that. Especially, it's if you work, for example, in my case, I worked as hardware, but hardware can be implemented not just only in neuroscience, and bioscience as well. So machine learning, of course, exactly the same situation. For this reason, it's necessary to be much more flexible. And from my point of view, just only don't care. It's necessary just only improve your skills, because if you have a great skills, that's where I found themselves in some area, it can be found in another area. But in generally, of course, it's quite complicated questions. It's not about neuroscience, because how we can see technology growing up about programming, and many people already care about the future of programmers, because we now already now can create very amazing scripts. For example, you can do without any problem, provide a dataset for ChatGPT and make signal processing, implement bandpass filters. So in this case, just only necessary some theoretical knowledge to asking. And what it will be after a few years, it's questions not just only about neuroscience, it's questions probably about all science and also engineering as well.
So, what skills do you think are in demand or will be in demand in the field of neurotech?
It's also depends. It's applied science or fundamental science. It's quite a big difference. So in my case, I'm much more working in applied tasks, and for this reason, I just only believe it's necessary to move forward with modern technology and with modern achievements and use it. And that's help you improve and your knowledge and improve your results. Especially it's everything what we have, it can help you.
Anything specific that you would recommend for people to specialize in, keeping in mind this applied technologies aspects that they can use for their career development?
Probably it's the same what was mentioned before. So it's just only necessary pay attention what you want to do, make some your custom projects, your private projects, improve your knowledge. And generally, we need to learn. So learn every day.
And also some people are asking, should I have this general understanding of things, or should I specialize in one specific area of something that is related to neurotechnology, like, let's say, certain type of engineering, certain signal processing, to become this very refined specialist in one or another area? What do you think is more valuable?
Of course, if we are looking to job market, let's say, generally we are trying to find some specific specialists to solve some specific problems. So, of course, if you have some general imagination, general experience, you can find also another person who has also some general experience about neuroscience from one point of view. But from another side, of course, if you have some specific knowledge, probably you can ask, but maybe it will be much more difficult to find. I believe that it's necessary, how I mentioned before, so find some inspiring area and be the best in this area. For this reason, I can answer that it's better move to narrow. But again, how I said before, we should be flexible, especially for applied science. It's quite difficult to imagine how, for example, in my case, I can be narrow because anyway, we use so many tools as hardware, machine learning. So I don't know, for example, how to use machine learning only for bioscience. If I have experience about machine learning, I can implement it for bioscience. Probably not for all, but anyway, it's take some time, but I can adapt it. So just only be the best in your area. So
I like that. And I'm sure people are contacting you with different questions, including careers. What is the most frequent questions that people ask you in terms of career development in neurotech?
no, generally, I would like to say that probably I receive much more questions not about career, the most questions from students, PhD students about startups.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's many ideas,
Uh-huh.
but I would like to say it's many good ideas. The main problem is that they ask me about what they have idea. Probably they have some prototype for algorithms, but generally they ask me we need hardware. We don't know generally how receive clean data, how remove artifacts. We have idea, we have algorithms, but what should be done before, we don't know. So, but generally, it's how you also mentioned before that it's necessary to know how collect data sets, how install electrodes. For this reason, as the most popular question for me, we need a very good hardware that just only give us very clean signals, and we just only implement our algorithms, and our startup is ready.
Mhm. Yes, that's so interesting. So, would you say that there is a trend for startup development in neurotech? That more and more people are coming up with ideas and are willing to implement them in the startup environment?
But generally, it's not medical, let's say some wearable technology for healthcare,
Mhm.
to improve healthcare. Actually, I can't say that some trend because I have received so many different types of ideas. I like, for example, pain detection via EEG,
Mhm.
because usually when you visited some hospital, some medicine staff can ask you it's pain, not pain, but some as idea just only receive information about pain from EEG signals, some for live detection. It's many different types of ideas. So for this reason, I can't say that it's some trend, but generally it's something like available and available for everyone.
And in terms of then startups and creating your own entrepreneurial venture, what would you say would be things that you should not do? Maybe three things that you should avoid when creating your startup, creating your entrepreneurial project.
It's good questions because you never know. You can make some mistake, but receive some benefits, some experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say that don't contact these researchers in these institutes, but finally probably it will be not successful. But anyway, you receive some experience or more. So for this reason, generally, some recommendation. Of course, you should understand about what you're talking about. Anyway, before move to the neuroscience, if you don't have neuroscience knowledge, it's better really just only collect data sets, make signal processing, and already after that steps already thinking about your ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's how I say that neuroscience area, it's not something like magic, absolutely. So it's huge work and it's necessary understood that signals from brain, it's not something that can be easy implemented.
And what are your next steps? What are your plans for the future?
Future, the most my plans, of course, it's move my startups in academia. As I mentioned before, yes, it's my headphones for athletes and Pi-EEG kit also. It's necessary to analyze some parts of software and Pi-EEG as well. And also in gaming, virtual reality, I'm thinking about that. Not thinking, actually, I already made some steps, especially for gaming. And I have much more fundamental ideas about neuroscience. So let's say that's everything what was mentioned to me before. It's not exactly what I would like to do. So this is my main steps that I would like, would like to do. It's after these steps will be finished and I receive enough money to already make a much more fundamental and applied science in neuroscience area.
It's the best way to find you and your products.
It's very easy, I believe. Find me. That's only write my name and surname. So in general, it's the most popular way, of course, in LinkedIn. Yeah, generally, yes, people contact me via LinkedIn, but also I receive many messages by email. It's again very easy find in Google. So I'm quite open person. It's not so big problem find my email and my contacts.
Excellent. And as we're nearing the end of our podcast, we covered many different questions, but maybe we didn't cover something that you wanted to share. That's the best time to talk about that. So if you would like to share something with our listeners.
Probably I shared everything that I wanted and mentioned about many things. And it's not so easy, of course, cover everything that we can cover, but probably in the future we can have already some additional podcasts about headphones, about another types of project.
Absolutely. I'm already looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Ildar. It was a pleasure to have you on the podcast again. I wish you all the best. Looking forward to your products, to your new steps. And I hope we'll stay in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
Dear Neurocareers podcast listeners, thank you for joining me and my incredible guests on this exciting journey into careers in neuroscience and neurotechnologies. I hope you've been inspired by the stories of those turning groundbreaking ideas into impactful realities. If you are looking for more guidance on advancing your neurocareer, book a free consultation with me, Dr. K, your podcast host and neurocareers coach at the Institute of Neuroapproaches, the only career service dedicated specifically to the needs of professionals in neurotech. Let's take the next step toward your neurocareer success together. In addition to free consultations, the Institute of Neuroapproaches offers a variety of services designed to help you thrive in neurotech. First, professional development planning. We help you create a tailored career development plan, identify knowledge gaps, and equip you with the tools needed to achieve your goals in neuroscience and neurotechnologies. Second, resume and cover letter review. Get expert feedback on how to craft documents that are specifically designed for job opportunities in the neurotech field. Third, interview preparation. Sharpen your interview skills through mock interviews and targeted feedback, including soft skills, hard skills in neurotech, BCIs, EEG, MEG, live coding, and presentation preparation. 4. Networking and job search strategy. Learn how to effectively network and uncover job opportunities while standing out in the competitive neurotech job market. 5. Negotiation and salary advice. Receive expert guidance on negotiating salaries and benefits and determining a fair salary range for your desired position. All this and more can be found at www.neuroapproaches.org. Again, www.neuroapproaches.org. So, what are you waiting for? Let's navigate the path to success in the world of neurocareers together and turn the impossible into possible. We're looking forward to working with you.